This show is part of OnePlace, a daily network of focused briefings across the stories people follow most.
Welcome to today's roundup. We are diving into a massive day for sports and music, covering everything from historic pitching performances to huge tournament announcements and thrilling playoff comebacks across the leagues.
Shohei Ohtani enters the Cy Young race with dominance.
FIFA announces a star-studded World Cup halftime show.
Ohtani's sweeper leads the Dodgers to a victory.
The pitcher-only version of Ohtani breaks the streak.
Dodgers snap their skid behind Ohtani's latest gem.
Cleveland rallies late to stun Detroit in overtime.
Colorado advances after a wild 3-goal comeback win.
Matt Olson joins legendary names in baseball history.
First up today, the Los Angeles Dodgers finally found their stopper on Wednesday, and it was none other than Shohei Ohtani. After a frustrating 4-game losing streak, Ohtani took the mound and delivered 7 shutout innings against the San Francisco Giants. He allowed only 4 hits and 2 walks while striking out 8 batters on 105 pitches. This performance was particularly historic because it came just one day after he hit a home run. According to OptaStats, this is the 6th time in his career he has homered one day and thrown a scoreless start the next. To put that in perspective, every other player in the modern era combined has only done this once, and that was Hall of Famer Walter Johnson back in 1909. Ohtani is truly operating in a different stratosphere of baseball history right now.
What is even more impressive is that Ohtani has now qualified for the MLB-era leaderboard, and he immediately took the top spot with a microscopic 0.82 ERA. Manager Dave Roberts noted that Ohtani becomes a completely different person when he is on the mound, showing a level of focus that suggests he is actively chasing the National League Cy Young Award. His current ERA is the second lowest by a Dodgers pitcher in their first 7 starts, trailing only Fernando Valenzuela's legendary 1981 run. While his offensive numbers have dipped slightly during this pitching surge, hitting .240 with 7 home runs, his dominance as an ace is exactly what the Dodgers needed to stabilize their season. If he maintains this pace, he could become the first player to win the Cy Young, while also being a legitimate home run threat.
Moving on. FIFA has just dropped a massive announcement regarding the 2026 World Cup final, which is set for July 19th at the New York, New Jersey Stadium. For the first time ever, the tournament's final will feature a halftime show, and the lineup is absolutely legendary. Shakira, Madonna, and BTS are set to co-headline the event, which is being curated by Coldplay's Chris Martin. This isn't just about entertainment, though. The show is designed to raise funds for the FIFA Global Citizen Education Fund, which works to provide quality education and football access to children globally. Shakira is also expected to release the official World Cup song, titled Die Die, very soon. It is clear that FIFA is trying to elevate the World Cup final to the level of the Super Bowl in terms of global cultural impact.
The scale of this entire tournament is unprecedented, with 48 teams competing across 16 cities in Canada, Mexico, and the United States. The festivities kick off on June 11th in Mexico City, with an opening ceremony featuring stars like J Balvin and Tyla. The following day, Los Angeles will host an opening ceremony with Katy Perry and Future, while Toronto will feature Alanis Morissette and Michael Bublé. It is a massive logistical undertaking, with 104 matches airing across Fox and FS1. Fans can even stream the opening matches for free on Tubi. By bringing in global icons like BTS and Madonna for the final, FIFA is ensuring that even non-football fans will be tuned in. This summer is shaping up to be one of the biggest moments in sports broadcasting history, with primetime coverage across North America.
Next up, returning to the diamond, we have to look closer at the technical side of Shohei Ohtani's recent masterpiece against the Giants. His ERA didn't just drop, it plummeted because of his incredible command of his secondary pitches. Specifically, his sweeper was devastating. He used that pitch for half of his 8 strikeouts and generated 17 total strikes with it. That resulted in a called strike plus whiff rate of 41%, which is elite by any standard. Ohtani mentioned through his interpreter that even when hitters were sitting on the sweeper, the quality of the pitch was so high that they still couldn't do much with it. This kind of pitch efficiency allowed him to go 7 full innings, giving a tired Dodgers bullpen a much-needed night off. It was the perfect response to the team's recent struggles on the mound.
The Dodgers' offense also finally gave Ohtani some breathing room. Mookie Betts made a big impact in his return from the injured list, launching a 414-foot home run into the left field pavilion. That blast followed a solo shot by Santiago Espinal, his first of the year. With run support in hand, Ohtani was able to stay aggressive. He finished the night with 105 pitches, 71 of which were strikes. It is rare to see a pitcher dominate so thoroughly while also being the team's primary offensive threat on other days. The 4-0 win over San Francisco wasn't just another victory. It was a statement that the Dodgers stars are ready to carry the load. Seeing Betts and Ohtani both perform at such a high level in the same game reminds everyone why this team was the preseason favorite.
Now to this. The Dodgers have been experimenting with a pitcher-only version of Shohei Ohtani to manage his workload, and the results are terrifying for the rest of the league. On Wednesday, Ohtani didn't even appear in the batting lineup, allowing him to focus entirely on his start. This strategy seems to be paying off, as his ERA is now half a run better than the next closest pitcher in the majors. He reached 100.6 miles per hour with his fastball, showing that his arm strength is fully back. He did run into a bit of trouble in the 7th inning, but a quick mound visit from pitching coach Mark Pryor settled him down. He escaped the jam thanks to a brilliant defensive play by Andy Pages, who caught a deep fly ball and doubled up a runner at home to end the threat.
This win was crucial for the Dodgers' standings, as it kept them just a half game behind the San Diego Padres in the NL West. It is fascinating to see how the team is balancing Ohtani's two-way talents. By giving him full days off from hitting, they are seeing a version of him on the mound that might be even better than his previous MVP seasons. There is already serious talk about whether he could start the All-Star game as a pitcher. His worst performance of the year so far involved giving up only a few runs while still striking out 8, which shows just how high his floor is right now. If the Dodgers continue to use this pitcher-only rotation for his starts, we might see Ohtani shatter even more pitching records while staying fresh for a deep postseason run later this year.
Moving forward. The Dodgers' victory over the Giants was also a story of breaking out of an offensive slump. Before this 4-0 win, the team had been struggling significantly with runners in scoring position, hitting just .125 in those situations. They even stranded Kyle Tucker at third base early in the game, which felt like a continuation of their 4-game losing streak. However, Santiago Espinal changed the momentum with a leadoff home run in the 3rd inning. It was his first home run as a Dodger, and his first in the big leagues since 2024. That spark was exactly what the dugout needed. Mookie Betts followed it up immediately with his own long ball, and suddenly the pressure was off. The team finally looked like the high-powered offense fans expected, proving they can win even when they aren't relying solely on Ohtani's bat.
Once the offense provided that lead, Ohtani went into lockdown mode. He retired 8 batters in a row at one point and registered his 7th consecutive quality start. He is currently the only pitcher on the Dodgers staff to go at least 6 innings in every single start this season. The bullpen also stepped up to preserve the shutout, with Tanner Scott and Kyle Hurt closing things out effectively. This game was a complete team effort, showing that the Dodgers can find multiple ways to win. They shut out the Giants for the 2nd time this year, which is a huge confidence booster against a division rival. With the losing streak snapped and the pitching staff finding its rhythm, the Dodgers are looking to reclaim their spot at the top of the division and prove that their recent slump was just a temporary setback.
Switching gears. In the NBA playoffs, the Cleveland Cavaliers showed exactly why veteran experience matters in high-pressure moments. Trailing by 9 points with just 3 minutes left in regulation against Detroit, the Cavs looked like they were headed for a loss. But they locked in defensively and outscored the Pistons 2-3-1-0 through the end of overtime. Donovan Mitchell was the catalyst, scoring 9 points in that final stretch and shooting 4 of 5 from the field. Meanwhile, the Cavs' defense swarmed Cade Cunningham, doubling him constantly and forcing other Pistons players to take difficult shots. Detroit went cold, missing all 5 of their 3-point attempts in that critical window. It was a masterclass in late-game execution that allowed Cleveland to steal a 117-113 victory on the road and take a 3-2 lead in the series.
The game wasn't without controversy, as Pistons fans were furious over a non-call at the end of regulation. It appeared that Jarrett Allen might have fouled Oscar Thompson during a scramble for a loose ball, but the officials let it go, leading to overtime. Despite the frustration from Detroit's bench, the reality is that Cleveland was the mentally tougher team when it counted. James Harden contributed 30 points, and while he had some head-scratching moments, his scoring kept Cleveland in the hunt when they trailed by as many as 15 points earlier in the game. Detroit's coach, J.B., Bickerstaff praised his team's fight, but they simply couldn't find a secondary scorer to help Cunningham, who finished with 39 points. Now, Cleveland heads home with a chance to close out the series on Friday night, in front of their own fans.
Next story. Over in the NHL, the Colorado Avalanche pulled off a stunning comeback to advance to the Western Conference Final. They were trailing the Minnesota Wild 3-0 midway through the second period of Game 5, and it looked like the series might be heading back to Minnesota. However, the Avs never panicked. Nathan MacKinnon tied the game late in regulation, with the goalie pulled, sending the home crowd into a frenzy. Then, just under 4 minutes into overtime, Brett Kulak became the hero. He took a pass from Martin Necas and fired it past Jesper Wallstedt to secure the 4-3 win. This marks the 8th time the franchise has reached the conference final since moving to Denver. It was a rare series-clinching win on home ice, something the team hadn't accomplished since 2008 against this very same Wild franchise.
The comeback was statistically improbable, as the Avalanche had only won 3 times in 53 tries when trailing by 3 goals in a playoff game. On the flip side, the Wild were 21-0 in franchise history, when leading by 3 goals in the postseason before this collapse. Minnesota was clearly hampered by injuries, missing key players like Joel Eriksson-Ek and Jonas Brodin, but they still put up a massive fight. Jesper Wallstedt was solid with 30 saves, but he couldn't stop the relentless pressure from Colorado's stars late in the game. The Avalanche now wait to see who they will face in the next round, as Vegas currently leads their series against Anaheim. With MacKinnon playing at this level and depth players like Kulak stepping up, Colorado looks like a very dangerous team heading into the Final Four.
Last one. Finally, Atlanta Braves first baseman Matt Olson is putting up numbers that place him alongside the greatest legends to ever play the game. Olson has been on a tear, hitting 14 home runs with a .294 average so far this season. He recently joined an incredibly exclusive list of players who have recorded at least 28 extra base hits, 35 runs, and 33 RBIs through their first 37 games. The other names on that list? Nap LaJoie, Lou Gehrig, Babe Ruth, Willie Mays, and Lance Berkman. Being mentioned in the same breath as Ruth and Gehrig is the ultimate validation for any baseball player. Olson isn't just hitting for power, he is leading the majors in doubles, runs, and RBIs, a feat that only 8 players have ever achieved at any point in the month of May.
Beyond the historic stats, Olson also recently crushed his 300th career home run, which has sparked serious debate about his Hall of Fame trajectory. If he continues at this pace, the 500 home run milestone is well within reach. His performance is the primary reason the Braves have been able to dominate the early part of the season, despite several questions surrounding their roster. Olson's defensive reliability at first base, combined with this historic offensive surge, makes him a frontrunner for the National League MVP award. While the season is still young, the consistency he is showing suggests that this isn't just a hot streak, but a career-defining year. For Braves fans, seeing Olson join the ranks of Mays and Gehrig is a sign that their team is in very capable hands as they chase another championship.
That wraps up our briefing for today. Be sure to follow the show for your next daily update on the stories that matter most. We will see you back here tomorrow.